As a gynecologist, I am deeply concerned about the prospect of cervical cancer in women in underserved communities who don't have access to the traditional means of detecting early signs of cervical cancer. In countries like the Philippines, where there is no systematic testing of women, where the poor have no access to these tests, we are offering the opportunity to level the playing field. So I specifically spearhead a couple of women's health projects, the most important of which is the cervical cancer screening and prevention program. There's a procedure called VIA, which stands for Visual Inspection with Acetic Acid, which literally translates to looking at a woman's cervix with table vinegar. And by simply applying table vinegar to a woman's cervix, you can see early signs of cervical cancer by having tissue turn white. This white change you can see with the naked eye and immediately tell that woman, if we see something or not. The ability to then translate that into a treatment on the spot without the woman having to wait for a test result or having to come back for another appointment affords us the opportunity to eliminate that risk of that woman succumbing to cervical cancer. So the next step of that process is we utilize a procedure called cryotherapy, which involves taking a simple slender rod that's attached to either nitrous oxide or carbon dioxide gas, brings the temperature of the tip of the probe to a temperature at which we can freeze and destroy the cells where these white changes occur. So when we couple the VIA procedure with the cryotherapy treatment, it is a one-stop shop for screening a woman and treating her and basically saving her life. For the VIA procedure, we've been estimating it runs less than $1 per patient. And the cryotherapy right now is something that is a little bit more difficult to scale because it involves equipment and CO2 gas and nitrous oxide gas. The costs of that also are really pennies on the dollar compared to the costs of treating somebody with cervical cancer, which now involves major surgery, sometimes radiation and chemotherapy when it's gotten to a situation where it is now, far advanced. We also do women's surgery for women who unfortunately have not had access to regular medical care and now have conditions that require surgical treatment. So that's why we have embarked upon another objective, which is to help the local medical providers, help their patients seek medical care and understand when to go for, checkups and not wait until they get to this condition. Dr. Pomar and I come from Livingston, New Jersey, and practice at St. Barnabas Medical Center. Through the generosity of our hospital, they donated a medical truck that allows us to go from community to community to reach out these women who are basically in geographically isolated areas, especially in an area like the Philippines, which comprise 7,000 islands. It's far easier for us to get to them than for them to get to us. And this truck allows us to take these life-saving treatments and programs to communities in need and allows us to also teach the local medical personnel, whether they be midwives or physicians, this technique so that we can transfer the skills necessary for that community to take care of their own women. Unfortunately, because the terrain and the conditions here in the Philippines are such that sometimes it's difficult for even a medical truck to reach these communities in mountains or in areas where there are no paved roads, it becomes incumbent on us to develop new methods of access.
Bali sa amon sa diri sa Iloilo, mas convenient gid sa amon nga may amo kami ni klase nga truck sa uli sa Sikap. Nabudlayan kami magsulod sa kada barangay gamit sa amon truck kay tungod nga ang mga kuryente gasabit ang amon nga babaw at ang amon truck tamang ikataas. Mataas ang amon truck kay tungod may tangke kami asang tubig sa babaw. So mabudlay magsulod kay may mga kuryente kis ang cross sa dalan nga gabunggo sa amon nga tangke sang tubig. So gaka-stack up kami kisa or gaka-delay. So ini although gamay man lang gorong distansya sang iya height, kaglaba siya, pwede na kami park sa gwa, maka-accommodate man kami gyapon damo nga pasyente at a time. Ang truck namon gamay lang gid ang iya ma-accommodate kay isa lang na siya ka 3 sa sulod. So isa lang gid ka pasyente ang pwede namon magamitan. So ini pwede man tatlong matest namon, isa may ga-treat sang cryotherapy. Pwede man na doon kung wala man i-treat nga cryotherapy, at least tatlo rapat ang masunod. So damo kami pasyente nga mabuligan or mabulong sa isa ka adlaw.
So this trip has a special meaning to me. When I look back at my life, I was a young kid growing up in Chicago in a white Irish Catholic community. And as the only Asian kid from the Philippines, oftentimes I wanted to be like my white friends, and to the point that, to my sheer disgust, I was very much ashamed and embarrassed of who I was and where I came from. So having the opportunity now to come back to my home country has given me such great satisfaction in that not only am I able to help the people here in these deserving communities, but has allowed me to grow as a human being and to now say that I am proud to be a Filipino American.